delta states, because of the influence of the their governors, and because of the fact that, and some part of the north too, and the fact that we are saying the truth here, the fact that the legislature enjoyed even more benefits that is not legal. That their governor are using that one to cajole them, to influence them, not to approve the autonomy. So the presidency now look at what other means can the governors be checkmated, and that is why the federal government went to the court, and the Supreme Court ruled. Having said that, when we are talking about, like I said, there's no watertight separation of power. The so-called financial autonomy is to enable the local government obtain their allocation, set their own budget. They have legislature, that's the councillors,
right,
that they will, at the beginning of every year, like the state and federal government does, have budget. And but as we have it today, the local government, I would say there's no even local government reality, form of local government administration. So, but whatever the local government, no matter how they administer the fund, the constitution still gives the state assembly oversight function to find out at regular interval what this local government have done, what projects have been embarked upon, what are the how do they expend the allocation given to them. That is the normal thing.
Okay.
All right.
That the fear of Nigerians, me I'm also included, is that most or some of the governor ready to mismanage on quote by the executive, and each time, even at this station, you call on local government chairmen, some of the chairmen will say, oh no, nobody is tampering with our allocation, we have financial autonomy. But in the real sense, it was false. That's not the true position of things. One or two occasions, we see chairmen, local government, some, maybe one or two, raising their voice to that were always hammered, box to corner. So the reality on ground now is the practicability of and compliance with the Supreme
or the operation, full operation. But I'm glad that we'll have a balanced dosage of the conversation this morning, because we have Barrister, we also have a former member of House of Assembly. Now, Barrister, the Supreme Court has ruled. What do you think is still lagging in the implementation? Do you think the assignment has not been done before the Supreme Court could rule? Or what are the loopholes that you can figure out?
Thank you very much. In your introductory remarks, you made mention of Supreme Court granting autonomy to local government.
Yes.
I disagree. It's not the Supreme Court. It is the Constitution. We operate a peculiar system of local government in Nigeria that does not exist anywhere in the world, and is none. You see, the Constitution creates a federal structure with three layers: the central federal, the federating states, then the local government. Now, what happened is that even the powers of the local government is derived from the Constitution. What the Supreme Court did recently was to interpret
the Constitution,
what is existing, and say, come, this is the position of the law. Now, let me also say it again that the local government, what happened is that the Constitution also gave the state the state houses of assembly power
Right.
to legislate for the proper functioning
Of the local government.
So what happens in practical terms is that
Okay.
the states now usurp that power, use that power to do whatever it is they now want, rather than making laws for the effective administration of this local government. They make laws to emasculate this local government. They make laws to take over the powers of this local government, and thereby the rendering them docile and impotent. We have a law in this state, all this issue of a tenement rate, which I have challenged, okay, granting the state government power to collect tenement rate against the spirit and letters of the Constitution. And nobody says anything against it. The unfortunate thing now is that, you see, the governors, they know the position, they know the true things. But you see, they come in there, they become demigods. The rest of the citizens now are, well, I don't know how they look at us. So they acquire both the power granted to them by the Constitution and the one they dreamt of. They acquire this, and nobody seems to. Everybody is saying, Your Excellency, because they want a piece of the cake. Nobody is telling the Excellency the correct thing. That is why we are where we are. Even the members of the House of Assembly who ought to checkmate the governor, they are not doing that. If they do it, they will never return to that place. Because we exist in a political situation where the governor is the alpha and the omega. You cannot become a councillor in any state in Nigeria today unless the governor so endorses.
So, Barrister, can you please help break into smaller molecules the legislative aspect of where the state government comes in the operation for the local government? What is that specific legislative action, so to say?
To make laws for the smooth administration of the local government system in their states. Okay, now you see what happens is that the power to make law for the federation is vested in the National Assembly, consisting of the Senate and the House of Reps. Good. The power to make law in the state is vested
House of Assembly.
In the House of Assembly. Now, you see, the Constitution now, people think that the residuary power belongs to the local government. No. Now, the state governments are empowered to make law for the effective functioning. For instance, now, elections, duration of councillors, chairmen and councillors, tenure of office and all this or that, it's empowered by the local government. The Constitution did not specify that. Unlike a situation where, you see, you have 4 years for the president, for the governor, 4 years for the members of the House of Assembly, and the National Assembly, Houses of Assembly. No such things for councillors and all that. Now, it is for the states who have this closer to the local government to make laws, how these local governments are to function. But they don't do it. Now, the local government itself, they have the councillors are to, all these daily activities or daily laws, all these, what you call them, bylaws and all this. They are what they are supposed to be doing. But in fact, the whole thing is, councillors are there in nomenclature. The local government, from the administration of, I think, Musu in this state, I don't think any local government chairman can award a contract that is even up to 100,000. Yes, I'm not sure.
So what's to be done? I mean, with some governors threatening fire and brimstone.
They can threaten anything, because you see,
your state also saying that we will not recognize local government or everything. So what's to be done? What can the citizens do? Generally?
You see, the thing is the citizens are well, we have a very docile citizenry in Nigeria. We are very docile, very, very docile. You see, by the time too. Now you are looking for an appointment, whatever it is. You don't want to offend the governor. rather than Your Excellency say this thing is wrong. Your Excellency, why don't you look at it this way? And even the civil servants that ought to, they are the chief betrayers. Civil servants. Now look at what has happened in Kano State recently. I think that was yesterday.
Yes.
Where the Federal High Court gave an order stopping an election. They were not qualified to do that job, but they were assembled there by the governor, and everybody knows what is happening in Kano State, which is not even different from what is happening in Rivers State.
Barrister, thank God you mentioned about the electoral body to conduct, the election. Now, of course, there is a bill seeking to scrap the state independent electoral.
Don't go there.
Don't
go there.
No. Because
I know where you are going.
Yes.
You see, the citizens, some of the citizens ignorantly are clamoring for INEC to take over local government elections. INEC must come in. And the problem question you ask is, even the ones INEC are statutorily, are they doing it satisfactorily?
Do we look at that to stop what is meant to? Okay, according to what do you think is ideal, or which body do you think is ideal to conduct the local government election? Even
INEC, under normal circumstances, INEC should have no business conducting election in states.
In states?
Yes. INEC should have no business conducting elections, whatever election in the state. Be it the presidential, be it the state, INEC should have no such power. It should be the state. If they want to kill themselves, they let them kill themselves.
Honorable, do you subscribe to that as well?
Yes, but when you look at the Constitution, we are said to be practicing federal system of government, where we have the federal government, the component states, and the local government. All things being equal, there are certain, by law, there are certain functions that has to be carried out by the state and no interference by the federal government. If you are running unitary system of government, of course you can say, okay, the INEC can come in. Okay. We are talking of federal system of government. The states have their own law. All the states have their own law peculiar to their culture, their history, and the functionality of the environment. All right, but where the state law or laws contradict that of the Constitution, of course, the federal government, the Constitution prevail. That is the. But that is not to say the INEC cannot take over the responsibility. Even the police, that Nigerians are clamoring for, the state police, of course, it's supposed to be so, because
louder, please. Say that one louder. Say it louder.
State police, because we are saying, if actually we are practicing federal system of government, we're supposed to have state police. That is the normal thing. It's not supposed to be okay. Why you are even talking of some projects as state roads that pass through the state, that even mostly the people of the state make use of the roads, and we're still saying federal roads. And all these so-called federal roads are in dilapidating condition. So that says by practice we are not federation. We are not in the federation. By practice, it is only on paper that we can say we are practicing federal system of government. We cannot say because the federal, the executive, the governors are too overbearing. They are not doing what is the needful. They're not, and as a result of that, we want to erode their powers. We want to take over their responsibility. All right. In advanced country, even go to Asian country, go to China, for the federal government control. Right. But when you talk of the state, from state to state, there are even different kind of uniform and different kind of policies.
Job functions.
Yes, it depends largely. They put a lot of factors into consideration. But here, it is rule of the thumb. There's most Nigerians, most governors, executive, everywhere, the legislation were not following the laid down rules. And when you look at the problem, the serious problem is not the politician.
Not Nigerians.
I will explain why.
Okay.
No, the politicians are subset of the entire populace.
Okay.
But we politicians were not even up to 10%.
We are the ones controlling.
But the issue is this, and I will tell you where I'm here now. Politicians were always afraid of the people. But when the people, we look at the permutation, we know what they want.
Afraid of the people who went the power.
You throw the tithe.
Okay.
And before you know it, they start suppressing. Right. They now, how many people we follow the truth path? How many? Because of selfish interest.
I beg to disagree
Barrister, go ahead.
issue.
Go ahead.
The politicians are a problem.
Okay.
The politicians, yes. You see, most of them are hungry. So they go for this stomach in. Now, let me say this with all due respect. Now, let a PDP governor is elected in Ogun State now. Under 2 weeks, all the politicians from whatever they say will now go over to that distance.
Winning team.
Why don't you stay? Play opposition. Why don't you stay? Try to. And that is the thing I'll give to Bola Tinubu. Everybody knows I'm not a great fan of him. But you give it to him. When even the whole world in Nigeria were shifting, he remained where he was. He never. So our politicians should learn. It is our politicians that collected dollar at conferences of delegates, primaries. And then they now left Nigerians with choice of Atiku, choice of Obi, choice of Bola Tinubu. Who are they? Are they citizens? And we are saying, come. That is where the political parties. Now, how look at the process of electing these councillors. Rather than giving the different words, the opportunity, let the politicians belonging to the respective parties there select who to flag their. Yes, but it's not happening here.
Barrister, in apportioning blames, I would like to say this. A school of thought believes that judiciary is the one giving democracy a bad name. In fact, there was a case recently in Rivers. You will recall that there was a judgment that the police should not do their work. A judgment saying the police should not do their work.
Judiciary they have their own blame. Because the judiciary, they have the opportunity of correcting the politicians. Right. But it is like the politicians themselves, they have infiltrated the judiciary at the top.
Right.
To the extent that even people who are not supposed to be in the National Assembly are heading the National Assembly and telling Nigerians all sorts of unhearable things.
Let me come. Okay.
Are you to hold on? I'm coming. I will complete.
Yes, right.
We've had a situation where a senator at the Hello Chamber of the National Assembly made a comment, and who was the husband of a sitting president of the Court of Appeal, telling the world how they settle these political issues in their bedroom. Heavens did not fall.
Now,
Honorable.
Unless we all agree,
Right.
Okay.
to make a positive change, change will remain the same. For the barrister to position that it is a politician, what is it? Of course, when you have the resources, you can influence people.
Right.
All right? But if we are disciplined and determined, we can refuse to be influenced unnecessarily.
Right.
Now, what is the benefit of an electorate that is taking 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira to vote against his conscience? What is the benefit?
Politicians.
Is that the fault of politicians?
Who gives him the money?
Who collected it?
Who gives him the money?
No. Who collected it?
Honorable, let me say this.
Wait now.
If there is no giver, there
if you
will be no
offered
taker.
me money,
Honorable.
if you offered me money to vote against my conscience, me, Joseph Atiku, I can't it to be an insult on my personality. I'm not talking of anyway, I'm here.
All right.
I'm a politician, and some people knows me or know me very well.
Right.
I need money, but money doesn't make everything.
But honorable,
Now,
you can't compare yourself to,
the issue is
an
this,
average
average
Nigerian. When you say determined and have integrity, what is the condition of the country?
Now, the question is this: somebody that have been hungry for months, and you have opportunity to change the narratives
All right.
by voting right, and because of influence, inducement, by giving token.
And that's why
You are
politicians
not-
have weaponized poverty.
wait, you are now saying that is an excuse for you.
No
that
justification to
there's
sell
no
your
justification
rights.
for that, because the issue is this: if you say no to money politics, things will change. Things will change.
Right.
Now, if you remember, politicians were going from house to house, campaigning, talking to people. These days, we only wait for the day when we want to do that money, because they're going out from one door to door. It's not paying again.
Right.
People are not, reckoning with that. You meet with the CDA, CDC, the whatever, but at the end of the day, they will still request that money from you. What are we talking about? Let Nigerians say no to money politics.
Still talking about
Buying of
politicians.
votes
Still
should
talking about
stop.
politicians. Still talking about politicians. I want to
Right.
now. First Republic politicians. What was the reason the army gave in overthrowing them?
10%.
That they were collecting 10%. I want to ask the question now. Politicians today, do they collect 10%? They collect 1,000%. And at the end of the day, even that thing will not be done. Most of the roads everybody is complaining. On paper, it has been done. Now, you see, the problem is the politicians. Now, can you compare the politicians of the Second Republic to the politicians of this era? How many politicians?
People say that there's no ideological parties.
That, you see, that who do you blame? Is it not the politicians? It's the politicians. If a politician has an ideology, his followers will also have an ideology.
If you are throwing stone, be mindful of the how that you have that is in glass. The fact of the matter is this: there's no constitution, written the bylaw or the constitution of any political party. The person at the ends of affair that held it are the lawyers,
Right.
who are the product of judiciary. All right. So if the party constitutions are not spelling it out right and modifying the needful to make party functional, then we should blame not. When you look at this corruption that we are talking about, go to any ministry, go to any parastatals, the educators, the teachers of how to add 0 to 1 to make 10 are the civil servants. They will teach you, unless if you refuse, they will teach you how to go about it. And the civil servant politicians, we are saying every system is corrupt.
Right.
The mechanic that you gave money, that you said, okay, you have to buy fuel pump, fuel pump is 10 naira. You gave 10 naira for fuel pump. And he brought out the fuel pump, clean it, and return it there. Is he a politician? Every system is corrupt. There's no dignity of labor. There's no self-esteem. And that's what we should be concerned about, how to change the narratives.
Right.
That should be our concern.
So speaking of changing narrative, now because there's been so many debates, so many issues, especially on this local government autonomy and all of that. Now, how do we change the narrative
To make
that
the local government
functional and autonomous, either financially or full autonomy that you can think of, and the role of legislating will remain the role of legislating, and we'll have proper operation of local government? How can we change that narrative?
Before my
Okay.
friend
Okay.
let me. I don't want to forget this very important issue. The state government, the state legislature, also assembly, have responsibility to make laws for the entire state, including the local government. But the local government, each local government has their own councillors.
Right.
And the councillors are also legislators in their own right. Their own functions is to us to legislate on issues relating to their local government, starting from budgeting.
Okay.
Budgeting, putting into consideration what the fund they're expecting is, and if they have IGR and their plan of action within the next 1 year, it is the responsibility of the councillors, which have been taken over by the state. Like with as enshrined in our constitution, it is the councillor that have that responsibility. It is the councillor that should determine how the day-to-day running of the local government with their executive chairman, and that is exactly what we are tending towards.
Right.
Okay.
And don't let us encourage what should be discouraged.